Hi, and welcome to Hollywood Impact. I'm your host, Christian McCrite, and back with us, as usual, co-host Eric Grubbs.
Hello, Christian.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, the new Godzilla movie just came out, Godzilla X Kong, Godzilla and Kong, or whatever.
Whatever we're
the
doing.
New Empire. So, I watched this like just last night, and it was really late, and there was like literally 5 people in the theater.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There was like nobody. And I went and watched it with my wife and my friend Zach from Split Screen, reference right there.
There we go.
Like,
Hey, Zach. What's up, Zach?
Come from the bases. And he got there way before us and he was like, dude, there's nobody here. And I was like, yeah, probably because it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it. But it was definitely a wild experience. But I wanted to hear what your overall thoughts on this new movie is.
Overall thoughts. Yeah, I watched it 2 nights ago, similar time at Alamo in Springfield. It was pretty much packed.
Really?
It really was. There's a lot of people there. There's a difference between a fun movie and a good movie. And for
I'll agree
me,
with that. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Godzilla and Kong is a really fun movie, but I don't think it's a very good movie compared to some of the rest of the franchise, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think most of those movies, like there's like 5 of them now. I think a lot of those movies kind of go in that category of, hey, it's a fun time, but if you kind of ignore like X, Y, and Z about it, you know, I think this new one, the story is a little flimsy. Obviously, there's some strange things that happens, and there will be, you know, some spoilers in here, and I'll tell you whenever that happens. But if you break it down piece by piece, it doesn't hold together super well. But the fighting and like all the monster stuff is like peak.
Oh yeah, the action scenes, the special effects, those are outstanding. Don't get me wrong. But what I think happened is that I think the studio, it's one of those cases where they're listening too much to the audience. I think when the first ones came out with Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, everyone's like, less people, more Kong, less people, more Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I think they went too far the other way with that. Because in my opinion, what made those earlier movies really good was the cast.
I see.
And if you go back and you look at the cast of those first 2 movies, I mean, you got Bryan Cranston, you've got Ken Watanabe, Elizabeth Olsen, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Taylor Johnson. In Skull Island, you had Adrian Brody, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly. You had some big names in those movies, and I think they made it good. And in this one, you know, we got our main human characters is a podcaster.
Bernie.
Yeah, the chick from Iron Man 3.
Oh, I forgot she was a part
Johnson,
of that.
I believe is her name. She got a haircut. And some animal monster vet. I don't think he was in any of the other movies.
Dan Stevens.
But he knows how to fix Kong teeth. I don't remember him from any of the other ones, if he was in
No,
there.
I don't think so. I think the only thing I remember him being in is the live action Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
So, yeah. that's okay.
I missed
that
one. and like the best human character for me in this movie was Gia. You know, the lone tribes person, you know, or who they think. Yeah. But so to me, I think it just went too far the other way, and it's like all we get's Kong and Godzilla, where there is a story to tell with people, and I just think that was missing, you know, from some of the earlier installments.
No, I get that. I think. Okay, so for me personally, when I go see a Godzilla movie, especially our version of Godzilla, because the other Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1, came out, and I have not seen it.
I haven't either, but I want to.
I really want to. Everyone like raves about it because the human characters are apparently like outstanding, and Godzilla is super terrifying because it's a different kind of movie. But this is a more like just like knock them out, almost like a wrestling match.
Oh yeah,
it's hyped up like a UFC match. That's kind of the style.
Well, Godzilla literally suplexes Kong.
Oh yeah,
on top of the pyramids. That's probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Yes. So with the way that Godzilla fights, he's not actually as much in this movie. Kong is definitely like the star of the show for this one, but Godzilla comes in like just swinging a baseball bat all the time, and he like one-shots like all of these like major titans.
Is it just me, or was Godzilla like kind of keeping it tight in this movie? Like he's on like he went on the keto diet. He's off bread. He's doing CrossFit.
He's working out.
He's got some mobility to him. And he's running around, and
he's doing cardio. He's losing weight.
I think that's why he had the keto flu, and that's why he had to go sleep.
The keto flu.
Keto flu. So he's going to take a nap in the Coliseum.
He watched his first film, and he's like, "Dang, I need to lose some weight." I think
so. I think that's what happened.
Because now he's running.
Yeah, he's
like,
running.
Bro is literally like jumping off of cliffs and stuff, and like suplexing, diving into people, and he wasn't like that.
No, he wasn't like that earlier.
Yeah, no. He looked like me when I'm trying to go up the stairs, sometimes out here in the first movie. But no, I did enjoy all the monster fights. Scar King, the villain, I don't think I was like super into him at first. Like the concept was like, oh, that's really cool. There's a bunch of other Kongs out there, and one of them's just like really bad.
Yeah.
And I think it quickly lost my interest a little bit.
I like the idea of another ape like monster.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there were more mammal kaiju, because it seems like everything is like reptilian.
Everything's a lizard.
Everything's like a form of a lizard, and then we get the apes here. I think it'd be cool to have like a giant bear. Like that would be ferocious.
Oh yeah.
Or like a saber-toothed tiger, or maybe a carnivorous elk.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Because now we have Hollow Earth, and it's just more reptiles.
Yeah, it's more reptiles, and the apes we see are all methed out looking, mangy looking apes.
It's like, hair on one side.
I mean, we're from Southwest Missouri. We recognize meth.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And when Kong gets down there and these other apes, come up to him, it's almost like they're, hey, you like to party? That was kind of the feeling I got.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely got that. It was more like, in my perspective, I felt like they were just like imprisoned, like malnourished, people who just like under the boot of somebody else, aka their drug lord.
Right.
So
yeah.
They only get a small cut. But the reason why I think Scar King like kind of loses my interest is, and this is a spoiler alert, I'll put something up on the screen. But for those of you who don't know, there's another kaiju in this movie called Shimura, which is this ice-breathing dragon, right? And having that addition into this movie is what lost my interest, because I think it's a cool kaiju, and I like the power set that it has. But once like Scar King was like fighting Kong, and then Kong was starting to get the upper hand, and then Scar King's like, okay, now I'm gonna have the big reveal where I secretly control this big monster. It made Scar King less intimidating, because it kind of just felt like it was like a guy and his pet, and his pet's the one you should be really scared about.
Right. Okay.
And so for me, I was like, well, now I'm less interested to see Scar being beat, because I know he can be beat. It's more or less like, how are they going to deal with the pet? And because there was less buildup and hype over the pet, I felt like my interest faltered a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. They should have made Scar King more of a formidable opponent.
Yeah.
And maybe there is one out there in the lore.
I mean, he was a cool fighter. He had like his little whip thing.
Yeah.
He was clearly a good fighter, but I mean, Kong's like he's buffed out.
I really like Kong in this movie too. He's like older Kong. He's
Yeah.
got the gray hair. I can relate to that.
Yeah, throwing kids around.
He has toothaches. You know what I mean? It's like I can relate.
Like that's literally a plot point. In this movie.
And then, Diddy Kong, for lack of a better name.
This is the origin story of Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Yeah, and he shows up and he's kind of acting like a little bastard, and Kong finally just grabs him and uses him as a weapon.
Literally as a club, which I'm sitting here thinking, how is this kid not dead?
Yeah.
Like he's busting people up with this kid and just throws him back into the ground. And the kid just gets up and is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, dude, your body should be shattered.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was so funny. Everyone in the theater laughed during that part, because we were like, that's ridiculous. Like whoever came up with that idea, like give that person a raise. That's funny. But I mean, overall, like there are moments like that where it's like, this is so much fun.
Right.
And as you're saying, more of a fun movie than it is an actual good movie. But I think where I might differ with that is like, I judge these movies specifically, like giving this movie let's say like an 8 out of 10. That's not the score I'm going to give it, but let's say an 8 out of 10 is different than like another movie I would give an 8 out of 10 because I'm kind of judging it based on its own standard.
Sure.
It's kind of creating this thing of, you know, less human characters, very hollow human characters in favor of big monster fights. And the CGI is like bonkers, outstanding. I mean, like, I know people raved a lot about the CGI for the other Godzilla film we haven't seen, but people are asleep on how good the CGI in these movies actually is.
Dude, have you seen the old, like the 76, 78 King Kong?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Like, I mean, all the old King
that's
Kong
the kind of special effects I was growing up with.
Yeah.
It was bad. You know what I mean?
It was
bad. I mean, the old, you know, the 60s Godzilla movies was literally a dude in a suit running around.
Yeah.
Now, did you see the 98 Godzilla?
With what's his name? I can't think of it. The guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick was in it. So I was messaging a buddy of mine. He reached out to me when he saw the first podcast, and he's like, you know, what are you guys doing next? I hope you didn't like this movie, Darby, because I'm going to trash it here in a minute. But Godzilla 98 was basically, the special effects were really cool, but it was Godzilla in New York City. It
was very strange.
And it didn't look like Godzilla or anything like that. So when these new ones started coming out, this current franchise, and Godzilla looked like Godzilla and could move, it was just good.
I think that one felt more like Jurassic Park 2, like Lost World, whenever like the T-Rex gets out in the city.
Right.
That movie, that one felt more like that, where it's like, it's less about Godzilla and it's more like, oh, there's like a ancient dinosaur that's kind of running around New York City.
Yeah.
But these movies are way different. And I know people like to trash on, you know, using a lot of CGI and whatever, but I'm probably thinking trying to do CGI on big monsters that are constantly running and moving and punching, how hard has that got to be?
Oh, yeah.
You have to animate all the trees that blow up, all the rocks that shatter. You have to animate every piece of that. My God.
They destroy so much stuff.
Oh yeah, movies. Everything gets blown up, and that's great. Like that's
him
that's
walking.
What I'm in for.
He just destroys major things.
Exactly, and then all the human characters, or at least most of them, just survive. There's always like one or two that die.
There's probably like 150,000 people that died that we don't even know about.
Oh yeah, there's all the background people, but like all the main people are just like protected for some reason, and but overall, like as you said, like it's not so much of a good overall movie if you break down every singular point, but I had a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah, I did. I had some fun with it too.
Yeah. So I am going to give Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it's just like from the Godzilla standard, it's a solid movie. I can rewatch it. If I'm at someone's house and they're like, hey, like you want to grab some popcorn and watch this, I'll have no problems with it. What would you give it?
It's a solid 6 for me.
Wow.
Solid 6. Yeah, it's
We're gonna average that out.
It's a movie you could have on in the weekend, you know, while you're cleaning the house, have it on, take a look when the fight scenes are going on. But you know, there's not really a story you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of fun, but fun doesn't necessarily mean good. And just to be clear, I go into these movies, and really any movie I watch, like wanting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't go into a movie looking to trash it or nitpick it or anything like that.
Very casual movie.
Very open-minded about it, but yeah, a lot of fun, just not necessarily that good.
Yeah. I'm a very casual moviegoer. Like
easy going.
I'm a very easy guy. And so for me, it's not hard to please me. So,
okay.
Sorry, that sounded kind of weird. But like, I am just an enjoyer of movies. So even movies that like aren't super good, I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is fine. And like, I remember, this is just a quick side note. I saw Thor Love and Thunder. I went and saw it with my wife and a few friends. Afterwards, they were like, wow, the MCU sucks now. The MCU is so bad. And I'm like, it's not that bad.
Baby, relax.
Like, it's just a movie. Yeah. Like, it's the MCU is dead. The MCU, like, how the MCU, you see all these videos, how the MCU fell apart, how they lost their audience. Now. And I'm like, my gosh, relax. Just quit. Relax. I'm like, can I remind you that the first 5 Marvel cinematic universe movies, like 3 of them aren't even in like my top 15.
Right.
Like,
people forget that.
Come on. Yeah. Like, they're not that bad. But anyways, I had fun with this, but what I want to do now is I want to get your ranking of the Monsterverse Godzilla / Kong films, all 5 of them, from the worst to the best.
Worst to the best. Yes. Okay. I'm going to go number 5 would be Godzilla and Kong, the most recent installment. 4, Godzilla versus Kong.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, that was super fun. It was super fun, super cool. But number 3, Godzilla. I'm probably going in like exactly the reverse order of they came out. Number 3, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah, that one.
Number 2, Kong Skull Island. And my favorite is the 2014 Godzilla.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It is a really good movie.
It's a good movie.
It is not just like a good Godzilla movie. It's just a solid movie.
It's good and fun. There's suspense. You're scared a little bit in that movie. That's what makes Godzilla -1 look cool, is it looks suspenseful and makes Godzilla kind of scary again.
Yes, and I understand that.
And I felt that with the 2014 Godzilla.
I totally get that. And I think like part of it, how we were saying like how he moved slower in the first film, that adds to like the suspense and like the scariness of Godzilla. It's like he's this giant titan that like he doesn't move very fast, but when he moves, like the earth shakes. Right. That kind of thing.
All right, so let's hear yours,
all right,
Christian.
All right, let's get into it. So number 5, I have Godzilla King of the Monsters. Okay. I don't particularly like it. I think they did some interesting things with the other Titans.
Was Rodan in that one?
He was, which is like cool. They have some cool scenes, but they wasted my boy King Ghidorah, who's like one of my favorite Godzilla villains, and I feel like I feel like they kind of wasted him in that movie.
That's fair.
They spent a lot of time on that girl from Stranger Things.
11.
Yeah, 11. Then at number 4, I'm gonna go Kong Skull Island. I think over time, I find myself enjoying this a little bit less and less. I like to rate movies based on how easily I can rewatch them, or what my attitude is towards watching it again. And in this case, I have not had the urge to rewatch this since it came out.
That cast is solid.
It is a solid cast.
Sam Jackson in that?
Yeah.
John C. Reilly is great.
Actually, like I think all the human cast is good. Yeah. It's everything else around it where like the entire Skull Island, like environment and the things that happens. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't pack that punch that I thought it would. Okay. But that's just me. Now the Peter Jackson one, that's a good Kong movie. Number 3, gonna go with The New Empire, the one that just came out, and like it's solid. I think like as far as Godzilla movies, for me, this is like middle of the road, and very flimsy, but it still has like some of the best kaiju like fight action that we get from all of them. Number 2 is Godzilla 2014. I like this movie. Great movie. Yeah. It's dark, which works both in its favor and against it, because it has a tendency to be so dark that you can't really see what's going on in some of the scenes, and that bothers me. Okay. Like, I'm a very like visual person. I need to be able to really tell what's going on. There's some times where I have to like pause it and turn up the TV brightness to kind of understand, and I don't like that. I feel like I have to do that. So that's the only thing I think that brings it down, is because that makes it a little bit more difficult to digest. But my favorite's Godzilla versus Kong. We have this in way different places. Yeah. But this is like the epitome of so much fun, so much hype. The trailers and the all the marketing for this was fantastic. The music is insane. And the reveal of Mecha Godzilla, which is also one of my favorite Godzilla villains, is very strange. It's like King Ghidorah's severed head is like its brain / soul gets connected to it. Yeah. That's a little weird, but I'm okay with a little weird every now and then. So I'm like, this is just pure, beat 'em up fun. If you were to ask me any day, what is the first of these 5 I would rewatch, it would be Godzilla.
Well, compared to the original King Kong versus Godzilla, did you ever see that one?
The original, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, this one, the newer one is way better than that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
it was just a couple of dudes in suits.
Of course. Yes.
Rolling around.
As you do.
Yeah.
As you do. But yeah, we have very different lists.
Very interesting rankings, Christian.
That's okay. Well, you're wrong, but it's okay. It's fine. I'll just accept
We'll
it.
let the audience decide who's got the better ranking.
No, that's
okay. That's fine.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming back on and talking about this. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
All right. See you in the next one.
Yep.